Hey guys, so today's going to be a little bit of a different video. We're supposed to be getting a LR Demon King Piccolo in Dokkan for the new local world tournament LR reward card. And I think the data download for that should be dropping sometime within the next day or two, maybe even tonight. So we'll see that pretty soon, along with the in Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta's EZA details. Or we already have the details, but his data download will be either tonight or tomorrow. So that being said, I went ahead and created a concept for what I believe to be, a semi-reasonable idea for an LR Demon King Piccolo that we could potentially see come out of the World Tournament. And then in addition to that, I also am going to be showing off, well, not showing off, just discussing a concept for a Demon King Piccolo unit in Legends. So that will be the second half of this video. The first half is Dokkan, second half will be Legends. I will post a timestamp down below in the comments for people who want to check out one or the other game, because I know a lot of people either play Legends or play Dokkan. Not a lot of people, well, there's people who just don't play both games, right? So if you're interested in one or the other, check down in the comments. A pinned comment will be telling you where to go for either game. So I think Demon King Piccolo is like probably one of the most, I don't know, underrepresented like main villains in both games. I mean, we did get one in Legends that was a pretty good unit for his time, but his time is long past. He is no longer viable for pretty much any team. And in Dokkan, we have gotten like one. Well, we've gotten two technically. We got the old, very old World Tournament one, and this one that's coming out right now. And then we also had one come out along with Kid Goku on his banner, who is pretty good, but far from what he can potentially be in terms of like an LR or like a Dokkan Fest exclusive unit. But yeah, we are definitely getting one in Dokkan here. So let's go ahead and go through what I think could be potentially be his kit here. So I think physical is a good typing for this Piccolo, so let's actually go take a look at what the Dragon Ball, because I think what they're going to go for is they want a lot of these World Tournament reward cards to be buffing this Dragon Ball Saga team, because to be honest, there really aren't that many characters they can release during like Dokkan Fest or LR banners that people would actually spend money on and summon for. It's just unfortunately how it's going to be with this category. The last big update we saw with this category was it's like the only update we saw for it was when Kid Goku came out, because Kid Goku, he came out on his own banner, obviously being a Dokkan Fest exclusive. He came out alongside all of these guys up here. So he came out with himself, the Demon King Piccolo unit, and then also the Master Roshi unit here, the tech one. So those are probably the three best units on this category right now, and they all came out together. And then we got, some other upgrades like Launch. Arale is pretty old, but we have her. This Tien who got Awakening is pretty good. This LR Yamcha and Puar is not bad. Android 8's okay. This unit is really good. This unit is really good. Goku and Arale. That's pretty much the whole category. So again, it's not the best category ever, and that's why I think that they're going to take this opportunity to buff that category with someone like LR Demon King Piccolo. So taking a look at what we have here, I believe this is something we'll sort of see with his stats. You might be thinking this defense looks super high, but if we actually go ahead and take a look at where is Tien and Chaozu, because Tien and Chaozu actually have, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, are they even on here? They have close to 14,000 defense. So I mean, oh yeah, they're probably not gonna be on here because they're technically not part of the Dragon Ball Saga. But they have close to 14,000 defense, being a World Tournament reward card. So I don't think it's out of the question for this guy to have defense that's like that high. So yeah, could be looking something like that. And then physical, like I was just talking about, there really aren't that many physical units on this team that are really good. I think the only one that comes to mind right now is the LR Yamcha and Puar, and he's like okay. He's not like insane. Leader skill, it's not really super important, but I think Dragon Ball Saga and then Dragon Ball Seekers, 100% stats and 3 key. It's very similar to what the Yamcha does. The Yamcha is, I believe, 100% stats and 3 key to the Joined Forces team, which was good for the time. And then I think, because obviously I think there's like a 90% chance he's buffing the Dragon Ball Saga team with leader skill. And I think he also will heavily have an influence on the Dragon Ball Seekers category team, because that category, to be honest, doesn't really have, let's just actually pull that up real fast, that category doesn't really have that much room for growth, to be honest. Where are they? Dragon Ball Seekers. Pull it up. Should have had this pulled up before. But basically the Dragon Ball Seekers team, like a lot of these guys are already in the game. Like, the only things I can think of that this team could really use is like a Dokkan Fest Captain Ginyu, maybe like a transforming Zarbon, because we already have good Damasu units. We already have a good Force Form Frieza unit. I mean, we could also always use some more Friezas. Maybe like a good Scouter Vegeta from the Saiyan Saga. That could definitely be in this category. But like other than that, there really aren't that many characters I could see being included in here. Because the thing with the Dragon Ball Seeker category is it's really only counting up towards the Namek Saga, and then it jumps all the way to the Goku Black arc, right? So, like, we already have a lot of the characters fleshed out from those arcs, except for the ones I talked about. So, I mean, getting more, like, finding ways to fill this categories with, to fill that category with more support units where they can, and like really buffing up the category, I think is a good idea. So I think when I designed this character, I really wanted him to focus on these two categories because I feel like those really need help a lot. Now, the only other category I could think of off the top of my head that could really benefit from a unit like Demon King Piccolo is Namekians. Because Namekians, if you're talking about a category that really doesn't have a lot of room for growth, Namekians is like the #1 category because there really aren't that many Namekians that had screen time in the series. So this guy definitely could potentially be being a leader for the team, be a support unit for the team, something like that. But for me, because back when this guy was first introduced in the show, in the manga, like the Namekian concept didn't exist. This guy was a demon. He wasn't a Namekian. So for me, it's just a little bit weird seeing this guy like being on the Namekian team, and it makes sense that he is because obviously, like right later, it was revealed that he is part of Kami, who was a Namekian that came from planet Namek. But like his whole thing was like he was the leader of the demon clan with like drum, cymbal, tambourine, piano, all those like little demon members. They call them the demon family. That's the Japanese word for that, Mazoku. So yeah, the Namekian concept wasn't even conceived of back when this guy was first introduced into the franchise. So I don't know. I don't think he will be a Namekian leader or even a support unit on the for the team. So unfortunate, but that's just the Namekian team's always going to be lagging behind in that regard, I think. Super attacks, we have the Mageki-sen and the Mako-sen. This is like the kick that he does, and then this is like the flash that he does, where Goku jumps up and then he hits him again with the beam. So typically, what we've seen, we can actually go and show you. I base these a lot off of the existing Demon King Piccolo attacks because this guy lowers attack, and then this guy greatly lowers attack. And I feel like they would do something similar to this. Again, these aren't anything crazy. It's not like, oh, he raises defense infinitely or whatever. But lowering attack and then greatly lowering attack, I think is actually really impactful, especially for an LR. And then this also plays into his passive, which we'll take a look at right now, which is the Dragon Balls will be mine. Dragon Ball Saga and Dragon Ball Seekers category allies attack and defense plus 50%, and then superclass enemies attack and defense minus 20%. So I really want this guy to be sort of like the utility master on the Dragon Ball team as well as the Dragon Ball Seekers team. So a huge monster support unit, attack and defense plus 50%. That is like that's like literally physical Kid Buu for this team basically. And then superclass enemies attack and defense minus 20%. So he's fulfilling basically two spots on this team, either debuffing the enemy as well as buffing your allies. So that in conjunction with lowering attack on both super attacks, I feel like could make this guy a super powerful LR for these two teams that I specified. And I think it's fine that he's not really going to be super impactful on the Namekians like I just talked about, but I would not be surprised, or I wouldn't even be opposed if they just created this guy specifically for the Namekian team, because of it just really needs a push. And we got Dokkan Fest Piccolo, we got the Nail, and then that's pretty much all we got, because Piccolo is like 80% of the category, and you can't even run him alongside other Piccolo units. So that is pretty much what we're looking at here. Let me know down below what you guys think about this concept. Oh yeah, by the way, the links: Demon, Revival, Incredible Adventure. I mean, these are just literally. What I did was I literally went to this guy, the Elder Demon King Piccolo. I copied all these links. I took out Strength and Unity because we look at Strength and Unity. It's just like it doesn't matter. Like no one's gonna care about that link. And then I replaced with Shattering the Limit, and then I added Legendary Power. So it's literally all the same links. I mean, he's gonna have a lot of key, right? He's gonna have 3 from this, 5, and then if you can link him up with Shattering the Limit, he has 7 key total, and then he's gonna have 30% attack. Like that's pretty good. So yeah, I mean that's the concept. Let me know what you guys think about that. He should. I would say he's at least going to be affecting this category in some way, because this Dragon Ball Saga category, like, it has the potential to be so good, it just never gets updates. So hopefully they do something with that. And the Dragon Ball Seekers, yeah, definitely want that to be updated as well. And the Namekians, we'll see if they do that or not. But again, don't be surprised if they don't do anything for Namekians. So yeah, that is going to wrap up the Dokkan portion of this video. Now we'll go ahead and head into the Legends section. Alright, so first of all, the thing I want to just make clear with Legends is that if they were going to introduce a new Demon King Piccolo unit, this is really not the best time to do it, just because of the fact that, let's just take a look at what he's doing, right? The one that's already existing in the game. This guy's buffing a regen. Because when this guy first came out, regen didn't really exist as a tag. Like, back then, I think this was the first unit in the game to even like introduce that tag into the game, if I'm not mistaken. Like, he was the first unit to have the Z ability that buffed regen. It was either him or Red Cell. I don't remember who was first, but if they were going to introduce a new Demon King Piccolo into the game, like, soon, that would be a problem, in my opinion, because if we take a look at regen, like, regen at this point is just way too prominent in this game. I mean, I'm going to open the tag. I mean, it feels like every other week we're getting a new regen character. I mean, we just got Janemba. We just got 21. We just got LF Piccolo. We got Baby, like, Super Baby 2, like, in December, so 3 months ago. And then we're getting, like, EXs sprinkled in here and there as well. We got this guy who's on the tag, but he's not really good with it. This Boo is on the tag. I mean, it's just never ending with regen. And we've got the free Ranger 21 as well. This tag is just constantly getting pampered by the dev team, because apparently every villain unit is on this tag. So I think if they were going to make a Demon King Piccolo recently to now, or close to now, I would want them to focus more so on the Dragon Ball Saga tag, because, to be honest, this tag isn't really a team right now. There's only 2 units that even buff the tag, and then the other units that are on here, I mean, like, this Chi-Chi's new, but she's not designed to be used with Dragon Ball Saga tag. She's designed to be used to female warriors. All these guys down here are kind of fodder, except for maybe this EX Demon King Piccolo got buffed recently. He's okay. This Bulma's still pretty good. This Legends Road Goku is, like, in desperate need of a buff. So I had a concept idea, like, they need to do something with the Legends Road units, because even, like, the Trunks is not great anymore. A lot of them are just not usable. So why not, like, Zenkai Awaken them and then make them completely farmable? Like, do it, like, revamp Legends Road, and then make it so that you could farm this guy's Zenkai Awakening all the way up to level 7 and make this guy, like, really, really powerful. Because this Goku, like, this is one of the most famous scenes in Dragon Ball history. The scene where he just penetrates through Demon King Piccolo, like, that is, like, literally, like, a top 3 moment in all of Dragon Ball history. And they made him a Legends Road unit, free unit. Like, come on. Dokkan did a Dokkan Fest for him. By the way, that Dokkan Fest in Dokkan was the fastest top grossing they ever got. So they could do a lot of stuff with this guy. We definitely need a new Chi-Chi that's more Dragon Ball oriented, and then same with this bunny Bulma. I mean, we have these 2 Bulmas here. Neither of them are really designed to be used on Dragon Ball's team, so I don't know. We definitely also need a new Roshi. Maybe like a transforming Roshi from this just normal one into, like, the buff Roshi. We don't have a buff Roshi in the game yet. So I think if this Demon King Piccolo were to come out now, they would need to throw him onto, like, a massive banner with, like, maybe like 3 or 4 new units that have giant buffs for the Dragon Ball Saga team. Maybe like 1 or 2 new free-to-play units, maybe like a Rising Battle unit, Legends Road unit, maybe like I said, buff this kid Goku, give him a Zenkai Awakening, that's completely farmable. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking they would need to do to make this Demon King Piccolo, like, a new one, like, very, very good. So what I think they could do for a Demon King Piccolo, this actually came up in the podcast last night if you guys were watching that. Right now, a lot of people are very upset with how Rising Rush is in the game, and that's something that's been prominent in the community since the game released, and they haven't really addressed it or done anything about it right now. I don't know if they're planning on doing something with that or not, but there's been a lot of people complaining about it, and I definitely understand why. It feels frustrating to always get your rush guest, and then they rush you, and then they just kill you with a rush. It's like complete RNG, and I understand it completely. I don't understand why it was even in the game in the first place. But now that every unit is balanced around that being a mechanic in the game, it's not going to be removed. They're going to have to find a way to sort of, fix it or tamper with it in some way. And I think one way to do that is to make units that interact with Rush or units that interact with the Dragon Ball mechanic in a way. And they started doing that a little bit with the Sin Shenron, because Sin Shenron gets a huge buff whenever your enemy or you use a Rising Rush. So similar to that, I feel like they could make a Demon King Piccolo who, with his main ability, like so he could start as like the old Demon King Piccolo, because this guy's the young one. We don't have an old Demon King Piccolo in this game yet. So we can have an old Demon King Piccolo who, I don't know, is like a super, super powerful support unit for the Dragon Ball team, the Dragon Ball Saga team, which I think could be super good if they start introducing like 4 or 5 new characters for this tag. And then you have this guy come in who's like, I don't know if he'd be an LF, but he'd be like, you know, the headlining unit of the banner, like 50% damage for Dragon Ball Saga units or something. He gives them ki, he debuffs the enemy, like all this crazy stuff. And then he has some sort of interaction with Dragon Balls. So the way I was thinking this would work is once you have all 7, so his main ability would be a transformation, right, into the young version. So he would summon Shenron. It would be like a fast, quick thing. He would summon Shenron, and then Shenron would grant the wish. He'd become young again, and that would be his transformation. But the way I would envision it would work is his main ability would start out being locked at the start of battle. And the way you can unlock it is once you collect all 7 Dragon Balls, you can choose to either A, Rising Rush, and that would just, you know, be a normal Rising Rush, or you can activate his main ability, and it would consume all the Dragon Balls, but you would transform into like some uber powerful like Demon King Piccolo youth character, and he would be like doing like insane damage, like tanking everything, because you have to give up. Think about it, you're giving up a Rising Rush to just activate your main ability. So it would have to be some crazy like OP transformation for that to even be viable, and I understand that. And then maybe he could also be interacting in some way with the enemy's Dragon Balls. I feel like if they just design this character completely around like Rising Rush / Dragon Ball interaction, that would be really, really impactful in the meta right now, because again, a lot of people are very upset with how the Rising Rush mechanic is currently, you know, thriving in the game. And a way to fix that or amend that or just simply tone that down a bit is, you know, making a character that interacts with that in certain ways. Like maybe once he transforms, you consume all your Dragon Balls. Maybe, I don't know, your whole team takes 50% less damage from Rising Rush for the rest of the match permanently. It cannot be canceled. I don't know. And then maybe make a Z ability like like Dragon Ball Saga tag, like attack and defense plus like 35%. Or sorry, not attack and defense, strike attack and blast attack plus 35%. And then you could have like the Zenkai Kid Goku. Let's actually pull him up real fast. If this guy got a Zenkai Awakening that was free, you could farm it. His Z ability could be like the yellow Dragon Ball Saga characters, or his Zenkai passive would be yellow Dragon Ball Saga characters, like all those like Zenkai stat boosts. And then I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of room for growth for this category or this tag, and making a Demon King Piccolo who can like interact with Dragon Balls like that, and then maybe just be like super, like by far the best character in the game when he transforms. But again, giving up a Rising Rush is like one of the it's like one of the biggest things that you could do, because Rising Rush decides games by itself, right? So in order to give that up, you're gonna have to be like sure that it's a better thing to do than using a Rising Rush. And yeah, they're gonna if this is something they would actually do, I would be fine with it. Again, Demon King Piccolo is one of my favorite characters ever, and if they actually went ahead and made it so that he interacted with Rush in a way that wasn't toxic, it was, you know, it wasn't like ruining the game in any way. Again, they would have to go in and test this like thoroughly to make sure that it actually is fun and enjoyable and not just straight up broken. But I feel like this has potential to be good. Let me know down below what you guys think about a concept like that, where maybe he's a support unit, and then once you get all the Dragon Balls, you can decide whether or not, okay, you know what, I don't need a support unit at this point, let me transform, now I'm all of a sudden the most damaging unit in the game. Or, you know what, I think I actually prefer to have a support unit on my team, let me go ahead and switch into this Goku who's now Zenkai Awakened, and let me use the Rising Rush instead, because I don't need to transform with Demon King Piccolo right now. I feel like giving players more options with the Rising Rush, and not necessarily just making it, okay, well, now I have all Dragon Balls, now let's Rising Rush because there's nothing else I can do with them. Just the flexibility there, I think, is what's what would make it more enjoyable to play with. So that is my concept for a Demon King Piccolo. I couldn't really do a full-on concept of everything because it would just take way too long. But let me know down below if you guys are interested in something like this. I know a lot of people probably don't really care about this character that much, but you gotta remember, this is back in the original Dragon Ball days. This guy was like insane. Like him wishing to become young and then literally just killing the almighty wish-granting Shenron. Like that was at the time, like everyone was like, okay, like how are we supposed to kill this guy? But yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next one.